Welcome to Vegan Ultra. It's Friday night, and I'm one of your co-inspiration guides because it is Vegan Chat with Adam and Sean. This is, of course, sick week for me. I did not plan that. It just turned out that way. So this is kind of like the fourth update. I'm feeling a heck of a lot better. The gastritis is pretty much cleared up, and my appetite is back. So I'm looking forward, after this video, I get to eat some spicy soup. Very, very excited about that. So now with Sean, of course, one of my personal heroes, 10 years as a vegan, and for a year or so now, a Blue Zone vegan, really focusing on that optimal lifestyle that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. So Sean, tell me, before you became vegan, how often did you generally get sick, and what was the sickest that you ever got?
Sure. Before I was vegan, I would get sick, a couple times a year. So probably common cold, once or twice, and then, in an abnormal year, every once in a while you get something that's pretty severe, something that's a little bit more flu-like. And there are 2 times that I recall very severe illness that was either an extra severe cold or something that was more like a flu or influenza. Once was when I was in childhood, and I don't remember the details. I just remember it was miserable, and I was like, what is this? Whatever this is, it feels worse than a cold. And it lasted, whatever it was, it lasted a long time. I was puking, I was nauseous. People have had sicknesses like this. But yeah, I had another illness like that when I was in college, where it felt like a cold, but it felt like, it was like lightheadedness and dizziness and fatigue, and it felt like it kept following me around. I eventually decided to go to the doc. I'm like not one to go to the doctor, and I don't know if that's like a man thing or like an Iron Range or like some kind of a tough guy, whatever. I'm like I don't want to go to the doctor, but this one was lingering around for long enough that, like, feeling like fatigued and mildly dizzy, where I was just like this. So I was probably around 20, 22-ish, something like that. Probably coming up on 15 years ago, and I was like, it doesn't feel right. I better go get checked out. The first doctor that I saw told me to go home and eat steak. She's like, maybe you have anemia, maybe you're low on iron, maybe you need to go eat a big steak. And of course, like, steak was the main thing that I was eating at the time, and I was like, she's not interested. Like, she's full of it. So okay, I'll just pause there for a second, because that was before I was vegan. Does that kind of answer?
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically, yeah, I once, basically, like, the sickest I ever got was I got food poisoning.
I've had
chicken.
those too. I
Yeah.
had that. I had that once or twice. Yeah.
Oh man, I ended up in the ICU. Oh no, it wasn't chicken. It was salmon. It was like, there's a period I was basically living on teriyaki salmon, and I got some bad salmon, and man, I could keep like nothing down. I was able to drive myself to the ER, and I ended up in the ICU for about a week. Almost died.
Oh my
so,
God.
So yeah, man, it's just like, yeah, it was a tough thing. But now tell me, since 10 years you've been vegan, and especially since you really started focusing on your health, what did that change? How often do you get sick now as a Blue Zone?
Sure. And help me remember to stay on track. We'll take this in 2 parts. So first I'll talk about now, and then we'll back up to when I first went vegan, because that was another time when I was very dedicated to eating well. But at any rate, I in the past few months, maybe less than a year, because I've been wanting to commit to eating the way that I know is really good, the Blue Zone vegan way, the Dr. Furman way that I first got into, that brought me into veganism. Hadn't really been executing on that until the past few months, maybe, or so. And it's I don't get sick very often. So which is a funny thing to say because I just got sick twice in a month, which is extremely unusual. But there was something going around. I caught something that it was going around some extended family. My younger sister has a broader extended family scenario now, and so I was exposed to that for the holidays. And so I caught something, and it was pretty unpleasant. I stayed in bed for most of a couple days, and what was striking though is how quickly it cleared up. So that type of like fatigued sickness, that's not the standard. Like for me, a cold is coughing, sneezing, sore throat, like maybe a slight dose of nausea. This one came with a lot more discomfort and a lot of fatigue. And I kind of had a couple of days of being sick, and then recovery. Like I just recovered within like a day and a half. That's one of the biggest changes since I've been vegan. Before I was vegan, I always noticed that recovery was like an exponential. Like you do most of your recovery and you start to plateau, and you're feeling better and better and better, and it just is taking like weeks to feel completely normal with all like the phlegm clearing and all of the energy back. So that I was struck by that. But then unfortunately within like a week I caught COVID, and COVID for me this time, which was, I don't know, last month or so, I think it was in January, it was a much faster turnaround than the first time that I got COVID. And prior to December and January that had just passed, the last time that I was sick before that was about a year and a half prior, the first time that I caught COVID. And the last time that I was sick before that was probably 1 or 2 years prior. I don't get sick very often anymore. So that's one big difference. And then I'll add to that. So when I first went vegan, I wanted to give it the best possible shot. And I had talked a little bit about reading blogs and watching videos and looking in forums, and seeing some of these sentiments about how like it's not doable, and nobody's like strictly a vegan. Everybody cheats, and people who try it, give up and go back to because it just doesn't work. And I thought, well, I'm not gonna be somebody who eats a couple bags of Oreos and then says a vegan diet doesn't make me feel good. So I was really really persistent on finding out what makes a wholesome, healthy, comprehensive diet. And that was a big part of what got me on the Dr. Furman track. And I was reading a lot of Colin Campbell and following Dr. Esselstyn and Dr. Greger and Dr. McDougall and Ornish and Barnard. And like the standard was the Furman, G-bombs, and then whatever else you want to add to that, the Michael Pollan guidance.
Just remind anyone watching, what are G-bombs?
G-bombs, your greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. So try to shoot for those every day. Those are the powerhouse foods. It's a little bit different than the Dr. Greger Daily Dozen, where uh, it's easy to get 100% of the G-bombs, and you don't pretend that that's your complete diet. You're also eating other foods. Whereas Greger's Daily Dozen, it can be challenged to get all of the dozen into your eating every day, but that's a nice goal. So distinction there. So I'm following this approach, and when I went vegan, it was in allergy season, and I won't spend too much time talking about my severe seasonal allergy history. But in elementary school, I was drugging myself with Benadryl because that was the standard at the time before Allegra and Claritin and some of these other drugs were the standard. And so like I was like, I was really athletic, and I loved going outside and playing sports and stuff. But I'm like feeling like I'm running through water, just dragging myself, like trying to keep my eyes peeled open on this Benadryl for my severe allergies. Sometimes I would wake up in the morning and like I couldn't open my eyes because I itchy and allergenic, cried my eyes shut, like crusted them closed. Like one morning there was so much crust holding my eyelashes together that it was painful. It felt like concrete, and I had to like peel I thought I was gonna rip all my eyelashes out. I had severe allergies, and they've never totally gone away. And then when I went vegan, it was in allergy season. It was in April, and after 3 days, I went one day, and I was like, I don't think I sneezed today, which would not have been a true statement on any single day of my life prior to that. And so I paid attention the next day, and I was like, I'm not sneezing. And then pretty soon my sinuses were clearing up. It changed my voice. I was falling right asleep at night. I was springing awake in the morning before my alarm clock went off, and I am not a morning person. And I was like, what the hell is going, like, I haven't felt this good since there was a time that I was really, really dedicated practicing Tai Chi. And that was one of the best times I ever felt in my life. I was doing it like 2-3 times a day for a couple weeks straight. And I was like, if I could combine my Tai Chi practice with my, Dr. Furman, G-Bombs diet, I'll be like a superhuman. And since then I just haven't gotten sick very much. And the allergies are extremely mild now, and I have a little bit of an allergy thing because I'm still not eating like an SOS free diet. But when I go really
just
whole foods,
for people who don't know, what is SOS?
Oh right, good call. Salt, oil, and sugar. So additives. You eat super healthy all day, but you eat one bag of potato chips or one Lenny and Larry's cookie, and that's so many calories and added salt, sugar, and oil. And I don't know what particular thing I might be more sensitive to. I just know that they're all in there because I'm still eating packaged foods. Like I'll eat a Cliff Bar. I'll eat one of those like evil like sugar glazed turnovers. Like they call it a pie, but it's just like a sugar bomb. It's just like a crusty custard donut basically with different flavorings. Like I still eat those. They're at the gas station right by my house. So with those foods that we know are not health foods, I still get allergies, but it's not anything remotely like what my allergies used to be. I don't take allergy meds anymore. If it's allergy season and I'm eating poorly and start to have really bad allergies, I go, okay, time to rein in the diet. And I eat well for a couple days. I'm like, okay, that took care of the allergies. Works way better than Allegra or Claritin. Just eating vegan and whole foods and keeping the salt, oil, and sugars low or out of the diet. It seems to be keeping me pretty free from catching sicknesses very often. I would say that I get something usually up to once a year, but I guess I owed one from last year. I guess that's why I got sick twice this year.
Well, I can pretty much relate. You know, the last time I remember really getting sick, that was with Omicron. Like the first time I had COVID is the only time I got tested and like confirmed, and my whole family had it. And of course, this was, I think it was like January of 2022. This is when it was raging around the world, and we had 1.3 million cases in a single day. So like everybody had it, and I was out for like a week. And I remember, I think maybe I missed 5 days of work. And remember, I'm a entrepreneur, run my own company. It's like at the time I was doing like 60, 70-hour weeks. It's like waking up at 2 a.m. It's like going till like 5, and it's just like I will work or die trying. And it's like I was gone for like 5 days. And then this last time, it's just like, I had like acute bronchitis, but I didn't even have to stop work. I mean, I basically had like, one day where it was like an 8-hour half day, and my voice was gone for a week, so I couldn't do any videos. But other than that, I felt pretty good. It's like basically like a one day that I was like run down. And this last time, it's just like, it was like a classic flu. It's like the fever was like very mild. Like I didn't even test myself. It's like a slightly warm, but like probably wasn't like an official 101 fever. Muscle, it's like a very slight muscle soreness. And it's like, didn't even feel nauseated, didn't throw up or anything, but it's just like, feeling kind of like weak. And my trainer, my medical team were like, yeah, you should don't do training, because it's like, you're going to really, this is going to mess you up if you do training with this. So it's just like, okay. And then it's like the gastritis was the weirdest thing. I mean, it's just like, I just like noticed one, like that at night, there was like, my stomach is like, I gotta roll over and sleep on my side or something. And then it's just like, it's like, just the appetite's gone. And it's like, anytime you eat or drink anything, it kind of like causes a mild stomach ache. And so it's like the last few days, it's been like unpleasant, because me, I love to eat. And especially like the fruit, the cinnamon milk and the spices. I mean, dude, come on. It's like,
Yeah.
The reason for eating anything is the spices. It's kind of like the spices. That's really why people eat meat, for the sauce. Well, vegans, we love our spices. And it's just like eating bland for 2 days. It was just like, oh my God.
That's tough. That's kind of hard to imagine. Like, even my breakfast oats. I mean, it's great to eat oats with, a bowl full of berries and nuts. But now I'm used to eating my oats with cinnamon and cloves every day.
The good news is my medical team pointed out is like, spices, most people think, oh, they, the hot sauces and then the cayenne peppers and the spicy stuff. But like cumin is really good for an upset stomach. So is garlic, so is ginger, so it's like,
oh yeah.
So all these anti-inflammatories are really good for an upset stomach. So this was like, you can use plenty of that. And really, it's just, that's kind of the thing. So, the point that we're trying to make here as we round up tonight is that, being vegan, you are a superhero compared to everybody else who gets sick all the time and is out for a week with a cold and so on. But no, you're not actually superhuman. You'll still get sick. You'll just get sick less often. It'll be a milder case. Honestly, I've never had a milder case of the flu. And I feel like already, basically, I'm looking forward to like my appetite's back and it's like bouncing back. Although I'm still gonna, per my medical team's advice, not start the weight training and such until Monday, just to make sure I'm 100%. But honestly, this has been a joy to just go through this, the compare and contrast to what this was like, just a few years ago, and confirmation from Sean. And this is actually, as Dr. Greger points out, things like, processed sugars. They will suppress your immune system within a few hours and up generally 4 to 6 hours when you eat some high amount of processed sugar. Well, the problem is Americans are eating processed sugar all the time. So you're constantly immunosuppressed. And so this is why, switching to a whole food, blue zone vegan lifestyle, it really is like being a superhero in that it's just, It's no big thing. So I want to thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video to help other people find it on YouTube. I hope you join us next week. We have a very special and fun episode that you'll never guess, but it's kind of based on what we talked about last week in terms of how to deal with stress during this tax season. Yes, we're going to be talking about taxes and all the tips and tricks we have for making it as painless as possible. I have, of course, already done my taxes. Let me tell you, I've got such an exciting story to tell. So thank you so much for watching. Please consider trying a Blue Zone vegan lifestyle. It's helped me to lose over 100 pounds in 7 months and become the healthiest, happiest version of myself despite an incredibly stressful, crazy year. And of course, we've already heard about how Sean, it's transformed his life over the last decade. And as my doctor likes to say, this is science-based magic and nutrition-fueled sorcery that can help anybody become the ultimate version of themselves if you give it a chance and are powered by plants.